Cool. Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to yet another episode of the Shpodcast. As always, I am your host, SumitoMedia, joined by my co-host, Alex.
Hi, everybody.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. How are you? How was your week?
I'm tired. My week has been filled with memes and/or videos and a lack of vitamin D.
So you're not going out, right? You're basically just stuck inside.
I'm kind of going out. I'm going to work a couple days a week just because they're like bugging me to.
Yeah.
The 2 days I've been going in, they've been like, why don't you come in 5 days? And I'm like, I don't want to come in.
Stupid to work,
all.
exchanging work for monetary value.
Yeah, out of here with that nonsense.
I don't know, how often are you wearing a mask? This isn't like a PSA, but.
I'm wearing a mask when I go out to like get food and stuff. I have a mask in my car. But when I'm going to work, I'm the only person in the office / like the entire office building. Yeah. So I'm not particularly worried about it. When I'm like grabbing a sandwich or McDonald's or something, I'm wearing a mask.
Dude, I had to shave. It's so annoying to have facial hair and a mask on. I don't know if you're having the same issue.
No, my mask, like, it's like just enough to cover my nose and my mouth, because it's like not the highest quality mask. It's just one like my mom gave to me and was like, wear this.
Oh yeah.
And because it doesn't like hug my skin or whatever, I can't tell if it's like way too fucking high and it's like covering like, you know, just barely my bottom lip and is like creeping into the bottom of my eyes, because like it's getting pushed up by my beard. So I'll like put my hand over to like adjust it down, and I'll have to adjust it down like a full like 2 inches. I'm like, what the fuck? I must have looked ridiculous.
Yeah.
With this thing way like basically on my forehead at this point.
I was really enjoying not having to wear a mask, and then my work one day, they walk in, they just hand me one. They're like, yeah, you're using this now. And I was like, oh, this sucks.
Better than nothing, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and then I got a better one from my uncle, but like, it's just so stuck to my face, and it just like itches all day. So basically it's causing me to touch my face. So I just had to get rid of the hair.
I've seen when I go to Chick-fil-A and stuff, I see them have like very nice, it's not like a surgical mask material where it's like paper or whatever it is. It's like cloth, like a cloth face mask, like what you would have, I don't know, like a thick t-shirt made out of. And they have like these little loops that like sit on your ear, and they're like triangular, so they like reduce the amount of pressure and everything. Like they're high quality masks basically. Yeah, but I'm sure they're ordering those like company wide, and they're providing it to their.
If you look up like, he gave me like the N100 mask, and it's like, oh, this thing's like a freaking.
It's just a fish bowl that you duct tape over your mouth.
Yeah, that's it. But like the inside of it is so annoying, because it's the opening for your mouth is smaller on the inside. That's not what it looks like.
Oh.
Nah, but it's those, but like it's got a lip around it. It's got like a lip on the inside. That's
this thing.
Yeah. So basically, like you gotta pucker up.
This guy's not wearing it right.
No, that's right.
This guy looks like a goldfish.
That dude is just trying to hide the pain with his mask.
That's what it is.
There's some pain in those eyes.
These are the masks I'm talking about.
Oh, those were like used by people who work out, and like people think like, oh, if I work out with these, it'll control my breathing. It'll make me like have better gains. But in reality, you're just suffocating yourself while you run.
Does suffocating make you lose weight? I'm not familiar with the idea.
No, it makes you die.
Oh, interesting. You need air for exercise. Interesting.
Yeah, basic respiratory function.
I've had a couple of people ask what this is, why I'm starting on this page. This is SumitoMedia.com. This is my merch. I do this as a soft plug, so that when you hop on, it's like, hey, there's SumitoMedia's merch. I'm wearing the shirt right now, as he pulls up his shirt, but Alex can't see because I'm not sharing my camera.
I'm also wearing this shirt.
I'll get you some merch, Alex. That'll be my gift to you.
Bro, I paid for merch.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, you bought? What did you buy?
The one on the left.
This one? In this color? In the long sleeve?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. That's actually my favorite color combination, and maybe my favorite design. I really like the 6-can design, too.
Yeah, it's dope.
You've got a tattoo, don't you, Alex?
Yeah, I got the 8 trigram seal from Naruto, if you want to pull that up for all the normies.
8 trigram seal.
Got that on the inside of my forearm.
This guy?
It's that, but that's with the 5-prong seal that Orochimaru put on. So without that 5-prong seal.
Oh, so this one?
Yeah. I got really nerdy there for a second.
No, it's all right. For all of us weebs out there, or I guess anti-weebs, what is this?
It's
It is
basically
something from Naruto, but like, what's the significance of this? Why did you decide to get this tattooed on the underside of your penis?
well, it's a little Easter egg if you get there. No one's seen it yet, but
Girls are just like, oh my god.
basically in the show,
I didn't have a Naruto reference. Sorry, go on.
no, basically in the show, it's the mark that seals the nine-tailed fox inside of him. So like once he learns to control it, it becomes, a source of strength. And so it was like a life goal thing where I lost a lot of weight and I wanted to get that. And it was my like reward to myself for doing it.
Right.
So basically like I'm coming up on another like milestone and I was thinking of like what tattoo I wanted to get next. And so like I don't want to get anything like too like standard. Like I don't want to just get like a quote. I don't want to get just like a design. That's what I was thinking. And I don't know if you thought it was a cool idea, but I was going to get a QR code tattooed to my body so that I could scan
Really?
it. Yeah, because I found out the margin of error for QR codes is apparently like really high. So like you could hand draw a QR code and it'll link pretty consistently to what you want if you have like a grid pattern.
Right.
So basically like I could get a QR code like on my back. I could link it to like my favorite song or something and it'll just go to it whenever I want.
I have seen Oreos. What is it? Have I seen? I think I found it.
I've seen this. This is. I've seen the barcodes. They just don't have as much freedom.
Yeah. So this is. Yeah. Here we go. Here's a video of it. So this dude scans a barcode tattoo that he has on his wrist at a Target, and it rings up for a pack of Oreos. A pack of.
That's a pretty good one though.
Oreo cookies, double stuffed Oreos. Yeah.
That should be his nickname, double stuffed.
I mean, it might be a twink tattoo. I'm not sure. Oh, wait until you see what this barcode tattoo pulls up under the scanner. According to Reddit, a half black, half white teenager's parents finally allowed him to get a tattoo, and he picked the barcode for double stuffed Oreos. That's funny.
Oh, if that's planned, that's amazing. But like,
yeah, no, it's planned. I mean,
I don't know if we have a better understanding of how barcodes work, but wouldn't that be different for every retailer?
So I think he specifically has this for Target. Yeah.
Oh.
It wouldn't be the same barcode if you scanned it somewhere else, unless Oreo has a universal barcode for their products, but I don't think it works that way.
Maybe it does because they don't have like they have their own stickers like labeled on. I don't know.
I mean, it also wouldn't be particularly heartbreaking for it to only work at Target because that's like something only working at McDonald's. So it's like, well, I mean, you're not really going to bump into a situation where that's not available to you, right?
Can I give a shout out to McDonald's today? I was just thinking.
Go for it.
So I was at a drive-thru, but it was a fast food place where there's only one window, and I was just thinking how revolutionary McDonald's is for the 2-window setup. I'm gonna give them credit. I don't have any proof, but I'm gonna give them credit to the 2-window setup. You pay at the first one, you grab your food. It's so much faster.
Then what? Giving your money and then receiving your food at the same window?
At the same window. It's just so much slower because you got to pay, and then they don't have the food ready because it's the same people doing it. It's just right. It slows the whole process down. So shout out to McDonald's.
I think it could be improved just a tiny bit.
How would you do so?
By having a credit card reader at the drive-through menu.
Chick-fil-A is close to doing that, if we're being real.
Yeah, like you could, if you're not paying in cash, you could completely eliminate even having the first window by just pulling up, saying everything, and then they'll make sure that your order's correct on the little window where they show everything that you've ordered, so you can like read it and be like, yep, that's what I ordered.
Well, you can just do that with the app. You can do that with the app.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I'm talking about like for boomers, you know?
Yeah, but then having
you drive up, you stick your card in the little telecom.
If we're talking boomers though, that card reader there is going to be a nightmare to use. They're going to break it. They're going to run their car into it. They're going to drop their cards.
Yeah. But I mean, I guess you still have to. I don't know. Like, why do you even have the intercom? I mean, you could really just have a touch screen that you pull up to and go click, 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 click.
That is just your card in. That is a coronavirus disease trap you are pitching to me right now.
I mean, for now, I'm talking outside of the coronavirus.
Oh, you think this is the only quarantine we're going to have?
Listen, What is the second life goal that you have in mind that you want to get a tattoo for? What's as significant as losing 400 pounds?
500 pounds. But it was just
It's just more weight loss?
no. I didn't lose 500 pounds. I would
No,
not
but I mean
exist.
the second goal for the second tattoo is another
No, it's
weight
more
loss
of,
goal.
no, it's more of a running goal plus promotions at work and stuff like that. So I was just kind of formulating what I was going to count it as and then what I was going to get in return.
What was the QR code going to link to?
I was thinking, so at one point I was going to get a basic tattoo.
Meatspin.com.
Precisely. At one point I was going to get the quote, "This too shall pass," tattooed to my body somewhere, but I decided that's too basic.
From Star Wars. Yeah.
Yes.
That'd be really good.
But I decided I was going to link to the song "This Too Shall Pass" by OK Go, who I don't know if you'll know that band, but you might know their video for
I know OK Go.
because they had
I don't know that song particularly, but of course I know the Here We Go.
It's Here We Go Again because of the
Here We Go Again,
the treadmill video.
Yeah.
But a lot of people know that
video-
music video because the "This Too Shall Pass" because it had one of those Rube Goldberg like contraptions where it's like the ball rolls down the thing, hits the thing that slaps the other thing.
Right. Wait, is this? No, Here We Go Again. Okay, Go director. I remember the treadmill video was significant not only because it was a really cool concept for a music video, but also because the music video and the choreography was directed by somebody who was like a notable it was something impressive. I forget what it was, but it was choreographed by Trish Say, directed by yeah. So they directed the film Step Up and Pitch Perfect 3. So they were like a Hollywood dance choreographer.
Well, that's stuff that they did afterwards. So really, OK Go was,
Oh, that is what it is. So what the fuck did I see that was impressive about this? OK Go to create and choreograph the music video for White Knuckles. Oh, so they had worked with OK Go a year prior to that too. 2 years prior to that. Or no, 5 years after that, sorry.
I wish we could work with OK Go.
Are your tattoo decisions at all influenced by how much it costs to get tattoos? Is that why your tattoos are mostly just black ink in a relatively simplistic pattern? How much did your Sharingan tattoo cost you?
I think it was $250.
Damn, that's quite a bit of money. Is it sizable?
You've seen it, but yeah.
Yeah, but I don't have a sense for scale.
It's big enough, and the artist was notable enough where I was like, I don't mind paying enough because I don't want to underpay. If I'm being honest,
did the artist do other like anime inspired tattoos, or you just liked their work in other places and decided to go to them?
I had gone to him before and chickened out, so I felt the need to go back to him when I actually did it because I felt bad for wasting his time. Of course, he didn't remember. He had no idea who I was. It was more in my head.
A good tattoo artist probably has several clients a day or something. So yeah, it's got to be hard to remember after a few months.
But yeah, I mean, he was cool. It was fine. But I do have plans for a colored one on my left arm because I want to get the Op Hyper Beast tattoo on my left arm. If you want to bring that up.
Really?
Yeah, it's the only color I actually plan on doing. But I just like that design so much.
Yeah.
So
I used to have one of these. I used to have a number of these Factory New back when I had, because these were no matter what, these things go up in value.
Yeah, it's a pretty popular.
Yeah, I like this. This is my second favorite op in the game.
What's your number one?
Is the one that I had, the op boom.
I don't like the boom as much.
I love the boom. That
wouldn't get it tattooed to my body.
The orange on black and the op boom is the most expensive op that has a stat track variant, or it was at the time at least. You can't get a stat track Hyper Beast or a stat track Dragon Lore.
I always thought that was a weird thing, but I have no idea why that decision was made. But
yeah, I mean, it's just
that would break the economy though.
Not only would it break the economy, I think the stat track ones only go on to less popular designs too.
Well, a lot of popular designs do have stat track. It's just those ones are like odd exceptions, I think.
Well, I think it's because they want these really rare ones to be traded around the community. So stat track weapons are far less traded.
Oh, that's true.
Because you're much less likely to get rid of it after you've had it a while, because you have a physical indication of how many kills you have with the gun. So it's much tougher to let go of it. But I remember when I had my AK Fire Serpent, I had either a field tested or a minimum wear Fire Serpent that was stat track. So it was like a $1,200, $1,500 AK-47 that I had in this game. And I had it for like 3 or 4 months, and I would take the time to hop onto AFK servers and just like tape down my right click button, and they would just spawn bots in front of you or other players in front of you that were also AFK. And they would have 10-minute increments where half the time you're somebody just getting shot over and over again, and the other half the time you're shooting people and racking up kills over and over again.
That's so unnecessary.
It is, but you have to understand when somebody's spectating you and you inspect your $1,500 AK and it has 45,000 kills on it, like it is very difficult to reach that level of flex in Counter-Strike. Like
I get that
you could completely just get demolished in the round, but it's still like, good try, man. Nice AK, by the way.
No, I get that a lot because my knife has I think 1,300 kills on it, but like I didn't do that. I've just had it for forever.
But
like,
people
since
don't
I started
know.
playing. No, people ask like, did you go to an AFK server for that one? I'm like, no.
Well, that's what I mean. You could just say no. Or like if plenty of people probably don't say anything and just look at you and go, oh, this guy's been playing since fucking, 2010 or something.
I wish.
That's the assumption. Especially on knives, because knives are like, if you have an AK, you can get a whole bunch of kills on an AK without much issue. But knives, even if you have 30, 40 kills on a knife, it's like, oh, this dude fucking cheeses, dude. What the fuck? 30 kills?
Not if you know, because ESCA has knife round every game, and that counts.
Yeah, but that's only maybe 3 kills a game. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it's still more than you get in MM.
Yeah, probably.
Unless you're smurfing. But we don't do that.
Yeah. So me and Internet Historian had we had a bit of a Minecraft session where we played Minecraft on Twitch for like 13 hours or something ridiculous. And somewhere in that, I brought up my idea.
I'm glad I was invited.
My apologies. It was sometime during that I brought up the idea of what I think I want to get as my first tattoo, or what I think would be a cool idea.
I was going to ask, you don't have any ink yet, right?
I don't, and it's because I feel like a part of me is worried that nothing jumps out at me. If I thought about the idea of a tattoo, I have a few like subpar ideas, some that I wouldn't mind getting tattooed, but nothing that I wouldn't 100% be able to say I wouldn't like regret in a year, 5 years, 10 years. But I don't even know if I should look at it that way. So because of that,
that's a thing you're gonna get asked a million times when you get one, especially if you get somewhere visible. Someone's like, "Are you worried you're gonna regret it?"
I mean, I don't think I'm gonna regret it if I do it the way that you did it, where it's like a piece of significance tied to the tattoo. It's like, it doesn't matter if I don't really care for this palm tree on my wrist, but the fact that it represents me being able to take this vacation to California, and that was a big part of my life at that time. If I can look at this tattoo and think back to that, then that's more than worth, being able to have that on my body permanently, right?
Yeah, I felt like that was a good thing to tie into it to make it have more meaning. I mean, I feel like I could have gotten the symbol on its own. It still would have been good for me, but I just think I just added to it in a way.
Wait, what did you add to it?
No, I meant like meaning added to it.
Oh, yeah, sure.
But
so I think I want to get a tiger tattooed somewhere.
Why a tiger?
Something, because I'm Bengali.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like from Bangladesh. So I could get a Bengal tiger tattoo, and it could be like a heritage thing. It'd be the equivalent of getting like Japanese characters tattooed on my body, except it'd be where I'm actually from. And,
yes.
Tiger tattoos are pretty common to, well, I mean.
That's amazing. I was looking at that one.
Not this one. But
why not that one?
Because it doesn't look like a tiger.
Oh, because the body's so badly done.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's weird. I hate when they mix art styles like that.
Yeah, exactly. Jesus Christ. I mean, like, what were you doing? It's like he tried to give a bit of like depth and perspective, but the part that would be farther away from you is larger, and the part that's right in front of you is this wimpy little tail. Like,
I just realized that's what he's doing. I thought that body thing was the leg. I thought it was just ripped.
Oh, just one front leg? That would almost make more sense.
Like it was a gorilla with a tiger face.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my god, yeah. The issue with tiger tattoos is there isn't anything that's particularly subtle. Like, I would love to have sort of a subtle, maybe just like the face of a tiger, maybe almost minimalistic or something.
I was
That's a
thinking,
Chinese tiger.
I feel like you could, if you're doing minimalist, you could probably do like a stripe somewhere. If you're going
Yeah.
real minimalist and be super subtle about it. I mean, that's however, like, what style you want to go with and all that.
I think if I wanted to cover like my shoulder and my arm, or like the inside of my forearm or something, just doing tiger stripes would be cool because it would almost be like an aesthetic to the body or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think a Bengal tiger. This is a Chinese tiger again, but I think a Bengal tiger would be cool, just because. Yeah, I'm Bengali. It'd be like if I was Japanese and I got a Japanese character. If I was like Irish and I got a. Huh?
I think that's a wolf one, but that one with the eye where it's on his forearm, where if he turns it to the right more, that one.
This.
I guess that is a tiger. It looks like it's a wolf almost, but I like the perspective.
That's cool. Yeah. I was thinking that, or you know who I think has cool tattoos is Action Bronson. This chubby motherfucker. Big inspiration. You know who Action Bronson is?
No, enlighten me.
Action Bronson is, I mean, at this point, he's just like a celebrity, but he started as a chef in New York, making fucking sandwiches and teaching himself how to cook. And he started making YouTube videos where he rapped, and he made these like homage music videos to old school mafia films where he'd be rapping, but the music video would be him like knocking out his girlfriend and throwing her into the trunk of her car, and then rapping while driving down to the docks and digging a grave and stuff like that.
What the hell?
Now he's just like a rapper. I think he's got some other stuff going on, but he's got songs with like Chance the Rapper, and he's on that A$AP Rocky song, One Train. He's got a lot of stuff, but he's got, amongst like silly tattoos, I think these are other people getting tattoos of him, but amongst having like crazy tattoos on his body, because it's just sort of like this giant dude, he's got Poseidon on one of his hands, and then you've got the Arab crocodile on the other hands.
Ooh.
Which I just think is so cool because like he got it on one of his YouTube videos. He got the Arab crocodile tattooed, or maybe it was the Poseidon one tattooed.
That's sick. Both
or
of
Zeus,
those.
sorry. But he got him tattooed on his hands. He was like, no matter what hand I grab the microphone with, the monster's about to be unleashed. And I was like, oh, that's actually tough as shit because he's like a performer and he actually like raps and like, works with fucking Alchemist and he's a rapper. He's still like a smaller rapper.
Was he on Test Kitchen?
Yeah, he's a chef.
Wait, really? Oh,
yeah.
Dude, I know a better fat tattooed chef though. Look up Maddie Matheson.
I wouldn't say better as far as tattoos go.
I'm going tattoos though.
Maddie's tattoos are just from like mosh pitting for his entire life though. They're
Dude,
different.
Maddie's the best.
He's cool, but he's got some cool tattoos, but his is very much
if I'm being honest, I would never do the quantity thing where like I don't know if I have a set like distance away, but I would never get a tattoo like super close to another one if they didn't have like any link between them. I don't want it to look like my mom's van window with the stickers, if you know what that means. If you know what I mean.
Yeah. I mean,
Right.
You wouldn't want to do like a sleeve, like just get more.
No, I would get a sleeve, but I would get the whole sleeve as one like piece.
What? You don't do that. Nobody does that. Almost nobody does that.
What are you talking about? What do you think I mean?
I mean, like you're saying you have the Naruto inspired tattoo on one arm.
Yeah.
Right? And then maybe you get a second tattoo on that same arm, or get a color added to a second tattoo on the same arm. And then one day you just decide to go in and get the entire other arm tattooed at once?
No, what I'm saying is that I'm doing like the left arm, I have it planned out. It's going to be that sleeve. And then like nothing else is going to be on that arm. Like there's no, like if there's any space that's not used by the sleeve, it doesn't matter. That no tattoo is going to go there. If you get what I'm saying. It's going to be like its own spot on my body.
Right.
I don't want to look like a sticker board.
This is a model who's in Little Pump's Esket music video. She's pretty popular on Instagram and what have you, but she's got the nine-tailed fox as a full back tattoo.
What's his real name?
His?
Yeah.
Little Pump's?
No, the nine-tailed fox.
Oh, I don't know.
It's Kurama.
Oh, okay.
If you want to guess any anime Fox,
am I supposed to know that?
No, in all anime, if it's a Fox character, in some way its name is going to be linked to the word Kurama.
And that's because Naruto had
no,
the first
no.
sizable...
I don't know if you know this, but almost all popular like most of like the '90s popular anime stuff, they didn't really come up with anything. It's all ripped off from Japanese folklore.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Like even the words, the characters Full Sail, because like Dragon Ball Z is just Journey to the West, like stuff like that.
Right.
Where it's just they didn't even come up with their own terms, and like I think Kurama was a fox spirit that turned into women to seduce men, and that's why Naruto does sexy jutsu.
I've got another concept for an anime or a manga or a web comic that I might put together if I have like the story written out, but I think I have a good concept for it. And it's a dude runs it's about a succubus who's bad at being a succubus.
Oh.
So so it opens and it's this succubus. So she's like a demon with like a tail and some horns.
I'm just asking, is she like an ugly succubus or is she
No,
like...
she's a hot succubus. She's just bad at seducing women or men. Yeah. So she's drinking at a bar and the bartender's like, "What's going on?" And she tells the story of her like going on a date with this dude that in this world there's a whole succubus organization, and the existence of succubuses seducing unfaithful men and removing them from the women that they're going to marry or end up with otherwise is a necessary evil, so that the women can go on to find the men who will truly make them happy, and for loyal men to continue to do whatever, right? So yes. In this world, it's socially acceptable to be a succubus in a way. So it's like her day job, basically. So
it's frowned upon that she's bad at it.
Exactly. She went to school for it. She's become a succubus. Maybe she came from a family of succubuses. This is what she should be good at. But every time she ends up on a date with a guy and ends up back at his place, she says something stupid. He gets grossed out, kicks her out, and then decides that it's not worth cheating on his girlfriend. And they end up actually getting married, and she's just failed at having to break up this dude. She tells this story to the bartender at this bar, who turns out to have been the reason for his parents' divorce in one way or another. And he feels that he can help this succubus girl because, if I can break up my parents' marriage without much effort, maybe I can help you get your shit done.
This is starting to hurt, man.
And then they team up together to become this succubus duo to help her hit her quotas of how many guys to break up. And it's just sort of like this dark comedy of a webcomic I feel like I might be able to put together. I feel like it's a stupid enough concept, but it's freeing enough that I can work in.
You'll get one season.
I think I could get a season out of it. Yeah.
At this point, where you're gonna make a manga about two guys who have a podcast where they continuously pitch manga ideas,
where they stay 5 feet apart because they're not gay. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, you're right, dude. Did you know that Vine was from the guy from Smosh?
Yes,
because I just found that out, and I've known about that for years. I
didn't learn that all that long ago. I did not learn that all that long ago, but yes, I did know that prior to this moment right now, yeah.
That blew my mind more than it should have. Like, way more.
Smosh has always been big, right? So it's a little bit silly that I didn't realize that was the dude from Smosh just from like... Well, I didn't watch Smosh back... I don't watch Smosh now, is the thing. So I wouldn't recognize the dude just by his name.
Well, he's not on Smosh anymore.
Yeah, well, he's got his own show and stuff now. He's like killing it on YouTube with his interview things.
Yeah, but I did watch Smosh back in the day, so I was like, how did I not realize that was his voice? I knew his voice.
I want to show you some of the memes that I found from this anime that I watched that is called The Daily Lives of High School Boys. And it is... I told you this just before we started recording, but this is the funniest fucking anime I have ever seen in my life. It kills me. I hate it so much. I gave it a 9 on my anime list. But the opening scene is this guy, Tanadori, and he's running with the classic trope of having a piece of toast in his mouth.
As you do.
And he looks back at his buddy, and he's like, "Are you running late too?" And he's eating curry over rice. And he's like, "Yeah, man, we're going to be so late." And Tanadori's like, "Why the fuck are you eating curry over rice?" And then the third dude shows up with a bowl of ramen. He's like, "Yeah, dumbass, it's a piece of toast." That's the classic trope. You're supposed to have toast in your mouth. And then they do the same thing like 5 episodes later, but he's got like cheese fondue, and the other dude's got a carving. fucking Brazilian thing of steak that he's carving on his thing. He's like, you guys are so bad at this, man. Nobody's gonna watch this anime.
Oh.
Shit's hilarious, bro. They have these moments of like where it almost feels like it's just supposed to be like a
super meta.
Like it's almost just supposed to be like this feel good. Oh, that's what high school was like, friendship sort of thing. But it ends so coldly. They have this they have this game called Kick the Rock, where there's a rock and two of the guys come at you and you have to stop them from kicking the rock. So they're trying to like introduce a new friend member because they feel like Tanadori's like hasn't been in a bunch of episodes for some reason. So they get a random kid from school and they're like, cool, we're going to play Kick the Rock. Do you recognize this? And he's like, yeah, that's my limited edition Prestige Gundam 1. I made that 6 years ago. That's the first model I ever made. And they're like, good. So you care about it. They put it on the ground and they disappear into the bushes. And he's like, wait, no, fuck. I don't want to play this. Why are we doing this? And he runs up to the kid in the blonde and he's got a hat on. So he thinks he's a different guy. And he's like, hey, some other dude, have you seen Guy 1 or Guy 2? And he takes off his hat and he's like, dumbass, it's me. And he kicks him in the nuts and then runs by him. And then he manages to tackle him to the ground and then throw a marble at the other dude right between the eyes so it stops him. And
that's where my off switch is. I don't know about you.
Yeah, exactly. So they have this whole convoluted battle scene, and then finally one of them sneaks behind him and just kicks the shit out of this figurine that he's got, shatters it. And he's like, oh, like he feels like he's failed. He's like, oh no, you guys got it. I hate you guys. And then they walk up to him and they hand him a present, and they're like, happy birthday, dude. And he's like, what? And they're like, yeah, we all pitched in to get you a figurine since we knew it was your birthday, but it turns out that you already had the figurine, so we figured we'd do this whole thing. So that we could give you this figurine. And he's like, dysfunctional. Oh, thanks, guys. And then he opens it and his face goes cold. And he's like, this is a fake one. This is a knockoff brand of this figurine. And the ending credits is just him throwing it in the trash can as they transition to the next story.
Does he ever come back?
Late at the ending season, it's all feel good endings to everybody's story. So one of the short clips that they show is them giving him a real version of the figurine and him like smiling about it. Yeah, but it's 10 episodes. They're like 22 minutes an episode. They're all non sequiturs. Some of them are okay, but some of them are solid gold. My guy, you gotta
gold, Jerry, gold.
I would take the time to watch it. It's 10 episodes. Who gives a shit? It's 4 hours out of your life.
I could do that. I mean, I sat around and played Pokemon all day at work. I can do that.
Yeah. I mean, I literally gave it a 9. I mean, I've given nothing else a 9. What do you think? You said you haven't actually seen a lot of animes outside of
the mainstream.
Excuse me. Yeah, the shonen stuff that you watched as a kid. What's the most recent anime you watched?
Most recent?
Like not including the latest episode of Naruto or One Piece or something that came out 3 years ago, 2 years ago, last year or something.
Nothing.
Anything?
Nothing.
Really?
No, not unless we're counting Cory in the House, but nothing really.
I mean, we would be counting Cory in the House, yeah.
Then I saw the Cory in the House crossover where That's So Raven Simone came back and was his big sister.
Did he see it coming?
No.
It's the future he can see?
But they watch a parody show of That's So Raven, like that show Bushnov or whatever, but she can only see the past.
Oh no! Wait, everybody can do
that. No, but she sees it way clearer.
Oh no, she's got good memory is what that show should be called.
Yeah. Do you ever? I don't know what photographic memory is like in real life, but do you ever like just have this idealized version of it where like you just want it, like to be able to memorize everything perfectly?
Yeah, I think it might be interesting because I feel like you could I don't know why my mind just jumps to this, but I feel like you could very easily steal somebody's credit card without much issue, like even without photographic memory.
That's not where I went.
Like, if you really wanted to, if you were keeping your mind open for this, you could just go to like 10 different 7-Elevens and just look for one with a line, and then get in line behind somebody, just pay a bit of attention, memorize 12 numbers, and then just wait for someone to accidentally flip their card over.
That was what I was about to say. I was about to say, but how are you going to see the security code?
Yeah, I mean, you go to 10 7-Elevens every day for a couple weeks. Somebody's bound to flip it over eventually, or somebody's just absentmindedly holding it in their hand next to their cell phone.
I was just thinking about. I did all those things today in my car while waiting for my food.
Innocuous enough. You're in line behind somebody. You know, if you remember the 12 digits for the credit card number, the date of expiry, the 3 numbers on the back, You could teach yourself to remember those numbers perfectly, but obviously it'd be super easy if you had photographic memory. And then you go home, you buy something on Amazon, boom. Easy enough.
I just thought it'd be cool to remember some book passages.
Some what? Book passages?
Just some like pages here or there, quote stuff perfectly. But no, you went straight to like a felony.
Crime, yeah. I mean, no, there's got to be better ways to utilize photographic memory. I mean, I imagine it would help a lot in school. You could like probably very easily become a lawyer, right?
Oh yeah, there's a whole show for that.
Oh, of course there is. What's that anime called?
No, it's Suits, where Meghan Markle went on to be the princess from that show.
Oh, really?
Suits is a show about a guy who has photographic memory who walks into an interview on accident and becomes a lawyer without having ever gone to school.
I knew Suits was about two lawyers.
Yeah, one of them's not actually a lawyer. He's just a dude with photographic memory.
I mean, what's the difference, right? Being a lawyer is just quoting other arguments where this situation won, therefore I should win, right, Judge?
I think the issue. If I remember, you have to have a bar, like you have to pass the bar. You have to go to the bar a lot.
Yeah,
we have to pass the bar. Alcoholic. Yeah. Okay.
Well, several of my cousins are lawyers, and yeah, they said the bar exam takes typically a couple days.
Yes.
So it's like 6 hours, 8 hours or something, and it's your ability to be able to recite certain cases that are like fundamental and other ones that are going to be able to help you win the case that you're on at the moment, as well as every stupid little rule that your state specifically has.
I think he also lies and said he went to Harvard Law or something. But
yeah, I mean, Photoshop's not a tough thing to learn. That you can do.
Don't worry. Every season ends the same. Oh no, he might get outed. Oh no, someone might find out.
Have you considered getting anything in Arabic?
No, because my family speaks Farsi.
Oh, that makes sense. I mean, my family doesn't speak Arabic either, but I feel like as like Muslim descendants, moderately. I want to get like
as brown in towns.
No, I think that like Japanese kanji looks cool.
Yeah.
As a tattoo, but I think the idea of getting it tattooed on your body and you having no connection to Japan, even if it does say something that means something to you, it doesn't really resonate, right? If you don't have a connection to it, you're kind of just getting a tattoo because it looks cool, and that's probably not the right reason to get a tattoo. At least if we're following our thought process of it's got to mean something to you.
To be fair, someone could totally get a tattoo just because they think it looks cool, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No, there is nothing wrong. I think me personally, that would be a straight line to something that I might regret down the road. Maybe it isn't, but
no, you're probably right there.
It might be.
Knowing you and knowing me.
That's why I want to at least not have my first tattoo be something without significance. And I'm sure it's probably more true than not that after you get your first couple tattoos, you just stop caring and you realize that it's not all that serious. And I'm just romanticizing the idea of my first tattoo being something super cool. Or with a lot of story that I could just fucking ramble on about what it means to me every time somebody
what actually happens is you get one, and it's not that you don't want them to be special, but you get like addicted to the idea of having more, and then the bar gets lowered.
Right.
You still think it's special, but you've lowered the bar for entry to what goes on your body just because you want to get another one.
Yeah.
The first thing I talked about after getting this one, like literally 5 minutes after, was what I'm going to do next. And I hadn't even healed this one and actually made sure it turned out okay.
Right. God, what do you think a realistic tattoo like this costs? Probably thousands, right?
Yeah, you'd have to go to a very, very good artist. You could for the one I got, technically, you could probably walk into almost any tattoo shop and get this one pretty much the same quality.
Yeah.
But once you get color and stuff like that, you need to
something like this.
You need to actually research.
Or these more simplistic ones.
If you have if I gave you my artist and stuff, you could probably go to him and just spout ideas, and he'd come back to you with a really cool drawing that he did, where he'd enjoy that a lot more than what I did, where I was here's a shape, go trace it.
So I think what I could do is maybe do the stripes of a tiger, but the stripes themselves be Bengali writing.
That'd be dope.
So they'd be shaped where they're sort of narrow at the edges and thicker in the middle, like a tiger stripe. And then I could have like my family name or something, or like my parents' names as the writing that goes on in Bengali, and I could have 3 or 4 stripes like that.
Did you just come up with that? That's fucking dope.
Well, in theory it is, and I'm sure an artist could actually bring it to life in that way, rather than just getting the face of a tiger and then having. I like this one with the third eye. It's kind of creepy, but like I like what that means. The third eye is always something that I fuck with. It's like,
I feel like
you know what I mean.
I just feel I don't know. I really like the idea you just had. If I'm being real.
Well, so the
can I get your name as a tiger stripe on my thigh?
Listen, when the podcast starts doing 100 million downloads, I'd be perfectly willing to get Shpodcast tattooed across somewhere on me.
Your chest.
Or Shtat2. That'd be funny.
Shtat2?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I like these hyper-realistic ones too, but I don't think you can do this as a first tattoo. This is looking like, 20 hours of work. Several sessions sort of thing.
That's a several sessions one, I was about to say.
I feel like I might be too dark to get away with like light oranges.
I didn't want to be the one to say it, but
yeah, that probably wouldn't work out super well.
Luckily, I don't have the same issue as you.
Yeah, you're not as dark as me yet.
Yeah,
the overwhelming sun will get to you eventually, buddy.
It does every summer, but I'm indoors enough.
You said you had an idea for a card game?
Yeah, I was talking to my buddy at work because he watched your idea for a card game. So just shout out to Connor. But
hey, Connor, thanks for your card game idea.
We were doing the old so you know how like girls have like astrology and stuff like that. Well, guys have their Florida man. Okay. So like you look up your like Florida, type in Florida man, then the date of your birthday, and you just see what kind of Florida man you are. And so, like, mine is a dude who accidentally thought he was taking out a tumor, but he actually took out some lady's kidneys.
What?
No,
was he a doctor?
Look up Florida man, then the day. Yeah. Florida man, November, and then the day of November. Oh, you're doing it wrong. You're doing it all wrong.
I'm not doing it wrong. I just don't want to do my actual birthday.
Just pick. You literally almost picked mine. Just pick a day then. Just pick like the 19th, unless I guessed your birthday.
This is my birthday, Ninja. This is not Florida man, though.
No, look up Florida man and then November and then a day. Just pick any day in November. I don't care.
Well, you have to do the year too, don't you?
No, you don't.
Florida man arrested for having sex with a miniature horse on multiple occasions. This is copyright 2018.
So that would be your Florida man, by our logic.
I mean, this is probably what I'd go out of my way to pick anyway.
I mean, they're all amazing. To be fair, there's no bad Florida mans. Some of them are sad, but there's no bad ones.
You know why Florida man's a thing? Why it's always Florida?
Because Florida's laws aren't as restrictive in reporting crimes or something like that. I think the Daily Show did a thing on it.
Yeah, it's something like that. Florida's the one state where you don't need to have animosity regarding like headlines like this. So the second that they report that something happens, you can just throw it up on the news without any...
Do you think we think of Florida like this because of this, or does it just reinforce
a Florida's like this?
Yeah.
This is what Florida is like.
I think idiots are everywhere. I think Florida just has a special kind of idiot. It's probably the cocaine, but you know.
Yeah, I mean, Florida is, in my opinion, like Las Vegas. It's not real. There's no reason for it to exist the way that it does where it is, but because of external circumstances, it's become the epicenter for this thing. Las Vegas is adult entertainment and what have you. Florida is a stupid amount of money.
Yeah. It's retirement money that somehow funds parties. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. You have all the people retiring there, all the people that are super old and just don't give a shit about being racist and doing drugs and owning guns and all the rest.
Yeah.
And the police reflect that, and the governors and the representatives of the state reflect that. And so it's just one big, huge, hot mess. Florida man breaks in a restaurant, strips naked, eats noodles, and plays bongos.
That's a Friday night.
That's a Friday night.
Yeah. So basically our idea was to have a Florida man-based card game where, say, like, each card is a Florida man and has its ability based on what Florida man did.
Interesting.
And then instead of like spell cards, you have drug dealers. that boost the stats of different Florida Man, because Florida Man on drugs does a lot better than Florida Man with just regular stupidity.
Yeah.
Of course, you could have like area effect cards like the ABC store,
Right.
that just boost overall, damage resistance.
Yeah. So you could have, so this guy could be a Florida Man card. This would be Florida Man 12. And
obviously
his special ability could be when he's summoned to the field, you roll 4 D6s, and each one of them applies either naked damage, noodle damage, or bongo damage based on how high of a roll you get.
I think you should roll for weapon first.
And then it's whether or not...
Where the first one is, a bat, and then the noodle, then another type of noodle, and then bongos. The noodle.
Why a bat?
His penis. Well, he had to break.
Okay.
He had to break into the the restaurant somehow. He didn't just. You think he barefisted that window?
They say breaks into restaurant, but the thing is, if he opens the door and they just had left it unlocked, that's still breaking and entering.
That's lame.
Yeah, so
that's not my Florida Man.
He came in with pants, but he rode off on his bike without pants. I'm not sure if he took the pants with him, but we still don't know where his pants are.
This is some great investigative reporting.
The Florida Man Twitter is not the most concrete Twitter to go with.
But yeah, I think this has some merit. But we can't call him. Yeah.
My concern with making a card game was the gameplay aspect of it. Oh, sorry.
That's definitely the part we're neglecting because that sounds hard.
Yeah. So I don't know if I had this. I don't know if I had this conversation with you on the Shpodcast or if I've just brought it up a million times on stream or something. But my understanding is that basically all card games, for the most part, are deviations of Magic the Gathering or whatever the gameplay in Hearthstone is. They're one of the two.
Yeah,
So,
it's hard to branch out.
Yeah, because the system works and it has so many ways to play it. That is the ideal system to use because it's established and we know that it's competitive. You can use it in tournaments and what have you. I feel like we have had this conversation, haven't we?
We definitely have.
Yeah, we looked up whether or not Pokemon or Magic the Gathering came up first.
No,
I remember doing that on Wikipedia.
It was Yu-Gi-Oh, but
that's what
I recently got back into competitive Pokemon after a 4-year hiatus where I'm trying to start making teams again.
The card game?
No.
The video games.
Yeah, the video games.
Which video game?
Right now, Sword.
So, wait, I have
Gen 8.
I have Sword.
Oh, dude, are we battling for a video?
No, probably not. I'm not very good at it. I'm trying to get my Farfetch up to level 48.
Oh, we're at very different points.
And I stopped playing like 3 months ago. But explain one quick thing about competitive Pokemon to me. When you're doing competitive Pokemon, are you going out of your way to catch a Pokemon with the perfect abilities and traits and then leveling that to level 99? Or are you buying a Pokemon that's competitively viable off like the trading or whatever?
No, it's so much more involved than you would expect.
Break it down for me, Alex. What are we doing?
So basically, first of all, each Pokemon has natures. And so there's a website called Smogon or something like that, where they basically give you the best moveset, abilities, and all the combos for every Pokemon for your team you build. So you have to breed your Pokemon to have the correct traits, and it's disgusting. So click I don't know, any of these.
No, I gotta pick my favorite Pokemon. Hold on, let's get us.
Pick my favorite, Breloom.
Why? Oh, I have to use this.
Yeah.
Breloom.
Yeah.
Grass fighting.
Yes, Breloom.
Wait, that's a kawaii ass Pokemon, my guy.
So Breloom was broken, if I remember correctly.
Right.
Because first of all, so basically, if you look at the nature down at the subseed, so nature is careful. There's 21 different natures, so you're breeding, and every egg, which takes back in this game, 10 minutes to hatch, you had a 1 in 21 chance of getting the right one, and if you needed it, you basically were never gonna get it. I don't know why, but it was the most excruciating thing. And then once you get there, you don't have to get to level 50 because all online games, they just stay everything just stays at 50, no matter what. They just re-level everything to 50.
Oh, really?
But this thing was so stupid, this moveset, because Spore had a 100% chance to put your opponent to sleep. So if they didn't kill you on the first turn, you put them to sleep. You use Substitute. It takes away a fourth of your health. But because of the item he holds, he gets a 16th of his health back every turn. So basically, by the time they wake up, you're at full health again. But the whole time they're asleep, you can just keep hitting them.
Right.
So it was like broken. I literally would have these kids turn their consoles off when they saw me throw it out, just because they knew.
Right.
It's the most unbalanced thing ever.
I've never played competitive Pokemon at all. I don't even think I've had a real Pokemon battle against like another human since back when we had like Pokemon Fire Red
with the link cables.
With the link cables, yeah. But
half of the audience is not going to know what a link cable was. But let's keep going.
The memes that I see about it are that it's not particularly competitive, in that when you're playing with everything at the same level or everything at level 99, it's just a rock, paper, scissors of who's going to have a type move advantage and who's going to put the other one to sleep or freeze them or paralyze them first. And then you just win that particular one-on-one.
If you're doing real tournaments, like with actual rule sets and like where you're not just being a dick like I was and just throwing out Spore to put everything to sleep, because in actual like tournaments, you can only put one Pokemon to sleep at a time. So say like I put one to sleep, they can just switch out and I can't use that move until that one wakes up. So I mean, like if we weren't doing like online 3-on-3s, this wouldn't be super unbalanced, but like it's just a glaring flaw in the game. Because if you look at the tier under the abilities, it's
right.
UUBL, which is ultra unbalanced, which means like I could not enter this Pokemon and do an official tournament because this moveset would break everything. Yeah.
So you only play with 3 Pokemon when you're doing competitive,
like online
against other people?
Yeah, it's just like it's faster.
So does it still not become a bit of a rock, paper, scissors where it's like you have 2 Pokemon that are weak to 2 of my Pokemon?
That literally almost doesn't factor in anymore.
Really?
The type advantage becomes so little because it just becomes about stat boosting and like raising your defense or raising your attack and speed stats.
To the point where you're going to one-shot somebody or be untouchable because your dodge chance is so high, stuff like that? I
think in all tournaments you can't raise your dodge stat if I remember correctly, but if you like, it's the point, some Pokemon you're just throwing out there, you're trying to raise their attack by like 40% to where even if it's a not effective move, you could still one shot.
It's still going to one shot, yeah.
It becomes like a dance of who's going to make. You basically have to predict what your opponent's going to do, and it becomes a thing where everyone's just predicting the prediction of the prediction of the prediction.
Right.
And it's the most meta thing I've ever played. It's weird.
This is my favorite Pokemon.
Umbreon?
Yeah. What's an RU tier? Rarely used. Not competitively viable.
To be fair, most RUs are like super niche where you're not going to see them that often, but if you like throw them in, they'll be all of a sudden god tier. Like where they could just
nobody's planning on playing against one.
Yeah, it's like so unseen where it's like that curveball you can use. If I remember correctly, there was like one like world championship of Pokemon where someone threw out a Pachirisu and it became like the most game breaking thing anyone ever seen, but no one ever used a Pachirisu before that.
Yeah. That's
do you even know what that is?
A Pachirisu? No. Is that a Pokemon?
Yeah. They threw it out, this little like, it has like awful stats.
A little electric squirrel Pokemon.
Its stats are bad. It has one use, but it won this kid a tournament because he said it was his favorite one, so he wanted to use it anyway.
Yeah, its stats don't look fantastic compared to the other things we've been looking at.
Everything has a role, but yeah, those were not great.
The way that you describe, so that's actually kind of how competitive League of Legends works, where the entire tone of how people play the game competitively, and I mean at home when you jump into a ranked game. Do you know how MOBAs work?
Very, very surface level.
So the way that MOBAs work, Legends, lanes, if we just pull up like the map. So the way that MOBAs work, or at least how League of Legends works, is you have 5 players. You have a top player, a mid player, 2 bot players, and a jungler. So they have 3 lanes where they have little minions come through, and you kill the minions to gain gold. There's an opponent in the lane that you try to not die to and kill if possible for gold and experience. And you use the experience to level up and get higher leveled abilities. And you use the gold to buy items in the shop that have special effects, make you tankier, make you do more damage, give you the ability to teleport or get stronger for a short period of time or stuff like that, right? And you build them according to what your character is innately good at, what its abilities let it do, and then you build around that idea, right?
Yeah.
So you can play the game in a number of different ways based on who you are, how long you're staying in your lanes, how much you need to move to help your teammates, how far ahead you get, how far behind you are, that sort of thing. And Korea is undoubtedly just about the best at League of Legends in most ways. They put the most hours into it. They have the most innovative things. So when the Korean competitive scene starts, everybody's watching the Korean players play because they're going to pick the strongest champions for a 5v5, and they're going to build them in the most optimal way and do the most optimal things that are most likely going to have you win. So traditionally, you have a mid laner who is a high damage mage. And you do that because mid is the shortest lane, and you can see that because it's the only one that's a straight shot, right?
Well, yeah, the shortest distance between 2 points is a line.
Right, you learn that in history class. Yes. They have these towers here, and the towers you really can't destroy unless the little minions that spawn are under it. So if you kill all the minions that are on your opponent's side, your minions now push up to the tower, and now you can do some damage to the tower. If there are no minions under the tower shoots you, and it hits for a fuckload of damage. So in the early game, if you sit under your tower, you can very easily kill these minions, and you can't really get attacked too much because the tower is going to hit whoever damages you, right? So the mid lane is the safest place for a super high damage mage, because if you misplay, they're going to one-shot you. You don't build them tanky, you don't build health, typically, right? Mm-hmm. So you take the short lane, you kill your minions, you gain the golden experience, and you get the fuck out, and you stay alive. That's your goal. And then you get to a point where you're strong enough that you can one-shot anybody, and that's your job. If they kill you and you get behind to the other mage, you can no longer kill that mage because they're going to kill you before you kill them, and now that team's at an advantage. And that's how the Koreans play, right?
Yeah.
Top lane and bottom lane are both the longest lanes. So top lane, you only have one character go up here, and you typically pick a bruiser. You pick someone big, you pick someone who can lifesteal, you pick someone who can gain health, you pick someone that even if you get attacked and they start fighting you from here and you have to run all the way back to your tower, you're not going to die. That's the idea, at least. Right? Mm-hmm. Or you pick someone who's specifically built to kill a bruiser. Someone who does a lot of damage and has sustain for this exact reason. And the bot lane, you actually have two people go. You have your ranged carry, who's squishy, and then you have your support, who's supposed to support the ability that your teammate's squishy. They have heal.
What if you just flip that?
So you don't, because the game starts with the dragon spawning first, which is a global objective.
Okay.
So traditionally speaking, the reason you have two players go bot lane is because the dragon's there and you want as much pressure to be able to contest this as you can. So that's why two people go bot, because then your mid can come. Your jungler takes all these resources in the middle, and they kill these guys, and then when they're done killing everything here, because they take an extra minute to respawn, they jump into a lane and they try and 2v1 somebody. That's the jungler's job. So between your mid laner, your bot laner, and your jungler, you have all the pressure in the world for here. 15 minutes into the game, the dragons only spawn every 8 minutes, so in between that 8 minutes, your bot lane will typically go top and then fight for whatever this objective is at that time. But my point is, that's traditionally how the game's played. There are moments in the game where the mid laner, instead of picking a high damage mage, will pick a tank. And it's like, wait, why? And then they'll see that the high damage mage that the opponent picks doesn't actually do enough damage to kill the tank. And now the tank can bully this mage out of lane because they can't come up, kill the creeps, get their golden experience. The tank is just going to soak up all the damage and then push you out of lane. Keep attacking you.
This is like one of those scenarios where the meta of the game is more interesting than the game itself, if you know what I mean.
If you understand the way the game's played, League of Legends is a ton of fun to watch, even if I don't actually play it well enough to then implement this stuff. But they do stuff like that. Or they'll take a ranged carry and put them in the mid lane. And it'll be like the ranged carry outranges most of the mages. So now the fact that the mage does high damage is completely irrelevant because you can't actually hit the guy because he's hitting the creeps from range.
How much would you have to like watch or understand the game to see the meta like of it unfold? Because I know Counter-Strike has a meta that I can see pretty clearly, but I know like someone who's just watching, it'd be like invisible.
Yeah, so the beautiful thing about Counter-Strike is that the game is innately understandable. There's 5 people. Everybody's got a gun. They're trying to shoot the other 5 people. Period.
Well, on a surface level, but there is some meta aspects that you wouldn't see.
No.
Yeah.
That much you understand universally, and then it's very easy to get into the meta of, oh, they send 3 people here because you can boost onto the top of the roof and you have this really nice angle into the site. Or you send only one person this way and he throws flashes and smokes to make them think there's more people there, but he's really just a distraction.
My favorite example of that is long A on Dust, because it was meta for a while to just nade the door on CT. So because someone was always going to peek it. But then because they kept nading it, no one peeked it anymore on T side.
Right.
So then everyone stopped throwing the nade, and then everyone started opting again. And it just becomes this push, and like every few months it swaps between, are you going to nade that door or are you just going to not nade it? And then the oppers start peeking again once they stop nading it, because it's a wasted nades because you only have so many to use.
Yeah,
I think it's a fast changing meta. It's weird. It is. It's noticeable if you know what you're looking for.
And that's the nice thing about Counter-Strike, that it's simple enough that the most nuanced things in the game are still relatively easy to explain. The issue with League of Legends, if you've never played a game like that, is that what I just said to you, top, mid, and bot, these are roles. This is typically a slot that you fill using one of the champions. But then there's 150 champions.
What does spectating look like for this game? Like, how zoomed out is it? I'm just wondering, because I've never watched.
It's not very zoomed out. This is typically as much as you see. So this is bot lane. So this is right here at the edge of this water here. This is bot lane. Right? So here you can see, you wouldn't ever see this much even. You would typically only see about this much when you're spectating. Or no, that's pretty tight. You would typically only see like this much of the square here. The spectators can zoom out, but the game actually specifically only lets you see a certain amount of the map, and you have to move your camera around to see other parts of the map. That's part of the game.
I was just thinking, because sometimes it's hard to get your bearings straight when you haven't like played a game like that.
No, this is not an easy game to understand if you haven't played it. It's actually really tough. Even the way I explain it is probably the stupidest way you could explain it.
To be fair, it's the most coherent explanation I've ever gotten. I've never played a game.
But that's the way it works. But that's the meta shifts completely just based on what Korea decides to do. So like in a certain thing, what they did is they had a meta where the ranged carry, the one that goes bot, you can have a maximum of 6 items. And if you're Korean and you're getting every income of gold available to you, right? If you get bullied out of lane, you can't kill the little minions, and then you're not getting the gold. Right? Mm-hmm. So it's a match of who can play perfectly enough to poke out their opponent, possibly get a kill, but most importantly, not die and not end up behind, right? So if you're Korean and you're getting every piece of gold available to you, you could probably get to 4, 5, 6 items in about 40 minutes, right?
Oh, but God, that's a while.
Right. But you get your first, maybe 30 minutes, but you get your first item at like 10 minutes if you're doing
How long is a game? Like a map in CSGO is like, 45 minutes. How long is it?
So it depends. So if you get pressured enough, you can't, the way the game ends is you destroy this last nexus here. Mm-hmm. Okay. This nexus has 2 towers in front of it. You remember how towers work, right?
Yes.
And each one of these towers has 3 inhibitors in front of it. And these all link to one of the lanes. So if your mid lane gets destroyed and they destroy this first tower, well, now you don't have this tower for safety to fall back on now. So they can push up much farther than you can. They can move into your jungle. They can move into this jungle. You can only go up to this first tower now and feel safe and be close enough to run back to it if you need help. And then if they come and destroy that tower because you're so far behind in gold that you can't fight back, they can take this tower, and then so on and so forth until they take this final thing.
How often does a comeback happen from losing one lane?
Super often.
Often?
In Korean gameplay, not very often. In Korean gameplay, if you make a mistake and you miss 2 minions, right? That's only like a 60 gold advantage. That might be like a health potion or something, not even a component item. But Koreans will take advantage of that. In every other place where it's like, oh, it's not that serious, it's 50 health. They will know what damage does 50 health more than your damage does. And they'll make sure to hit that ability, and they'll make sure that's what takes you out of the lane. And they calculate all of that. They're like, oh, you missed 3 minions? You're down 90 gold? That means you're not going to have this item at 7.5 minutes like you should if you got everything. Which means if I fight you at 7 minutes, 15 seconds, you're going to be behind. And I know I'm not, which means I'm going to win this fight.
I'm stressed just listening to this.
Yeah, and they'll calculate it down. Normally, it's not that serious. Normally, it's I throw my Q ability and I miss, you hit your abilities, and I've missed a chunk of my damage, right? But in Korea, they're not missing their abilities. They're not missing their abilities, and they're not going to be behind on gold. Yeah, exactly. They play as if they're perfect, and for the most part, they are, to an extent. But comebacks happen quite often because once all the towers are down, and it's just one giant map of no safe zone, and you're just fighting for the next dragon that occurs or the next Nasher that occurs, whichever one of these global objectives come up, it's 5v5. So if you picked a 5-man team where each one of the guys is built to win their lane, but they don't necessarily have any sort of synergy together, and the other team picked 5 characters that aren't super good in lane, but all 5 of their abilities together make them a monster team to go up against, you might win all of your lanes, be super far ahead in gold, and then have one bad fight at the Baron. Because somebody's not there in time because they went back to buy items.
Or somebody's half health. That's good game design, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, well, so the Koreans play it that way. But my point is, like, they'll do stuff where, like, instead of sending a tank top, they'll send a support top. And they'll send a support mid. And they'll send a support bot. And it's like, what are you even doing? But then they have a hyper carry as their range. And then suddenly there's one person who has all this gold and you can't kill them because you have shields, on heals, on revives, and there's nothing you can do to kill this one dude. And then suddenly that's all anybody's playing. After they see that game, it's a permanent ban to take out that carry. Either you're not playing them or we're playing them and we're locking 3 supports. And sorry, that's the way the game's played now because Korea said so.
By the way, is this game one map or is it?
It's one map, yeah.
Okay.
It's a MOBA. MOBAs are typically just this one 3-lane map. And, you know, there's a lot of design that goes into making sure that these walls are in places that allow for faster rotates or that you can't throw game-breaking abilities unless you're a certain champion, stuff like that.
No, it makes sense on a conceptual level.
Yeah.
Anyway. I think, like, Pokemon, going back to that, it's like, it's not a card game, but I think a lot of the way these metas play out, it basically is. It's just with video games, there's more of a human element to it, especially with these ones. But I think, like, the way Pokemon, like, the video game plays online, when you play, it basically is just a card game. Where you have 6 cards with so many abilities and you just stack items on them and all that stuff, all that jazz. But I feel like you definitely could make a card game that isn't Magic.
Yeah. I mean, it
just takes effort.
Yeah. So obviously, I mean, to develop a card game like that is going to take like an absurd amount of money. So I probably have a good amount of time before I actually have to have a concrete idea onto how to make the SumitoMedia card game, right?
Yeah.
But my theory is that I want it to be fun on a casual level. So even if you're not in a tournament or watching a tournament, if you and your buddy wanted to play, it'd be interesting at least. And I want it to be competitively viable, and I want it to be expressionist. So competitively viable is easy. So it means that if you're really good at the game, you're going to be much better than somebody who isn't very good at the game. And it's a thrill to play against somebody else who's very good at the game. That's more fun than just stomping on somebody. Right?
Yeah.
So the Counter-Strike is a good example of this. Counter-Strike's a very simple game, but it is much more fun to play Counter-Strike against people who are at your skill level than it is to stomp on people who aren't very good at the game.
Well, there's a certain amount of the community who doesn't think that, but they're jerks.
That's true. But you get what I mean. Like a game where it goes 16-0 is not fun. Generally.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
It's almost a waste of time.
It's a thrill every like once in a while when you're like it's a 16-0 is rewarding when it's an earned 16-0 where it's actually like, every round is a clutch, but your team just keeps winning, keeps like, pulling it out.
That's generally not the case.
But the 16-0 where your team is keeping 5 alive every round and the other team just sucks.
Yeah.
Generally, nah.
Yeah.
No,
and that's the way
what I listed was a impossible scenario, but I think
Yeah.
you can understand the feeling it would be if your team somehow did that, where it's like that is the dream.
Yeah. And that's what I think makes poor game design is if your game's a lot of fun to play, if it's more fun to play where you're stomping against people who don't know how to play the game, it's not good game design. Good game design should be that the thing that makes it difficult to play is when the other players know how to play and they have tools to be able to combat good players. So like Rainbow Six is a good example. Rainbow Six. So Rainbow Six Siege is a really good example.
You've played this more than me. How balanced is it, like overall?
So it's not if your opponents know how to play the game.
That's what I was thinking. Because like I feel like just intrinsically, it's like impossible to balance this kind of game.
So it's tough, and Ubisoft does a dog shit job at doing it. But
my mindset is there is no way to do it. Because
so the moment
you introduce abilities like supers or stuff like that, depending on what game it is, it's beyond saving as far as balancing goes, and that's just the nature of the beast.
So the way that Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six works is it's a shooter, right?
Yeah.
But the way that it works is that you have defenders that are inside of a building, and then you have an attacking team that spawns outside of the building. And the goal is to get inside of the building and either eliminate everybody or defuse a bomb that's been planted inside the building. So it's the equivalent of planting the bomb, except it's
isn't it also save a hostage? Isn't that a...
No, that's not a competitive mode, no.
Okay, I haven't played competitive. I only played casually.
Yeah, casual, they have a hostage situation, but no. The thing that makes this different is that in Counter-Strike, if you don't have good gun skill, nothing's going to save you. Because Counter-Strike's maps are all very wide open comparatively. And the way that you move through the map in Counter-Strike is that you kill somebody. Because there's typically only 2, maybe 3 lanes, and there's 5 players. So no matter what, you're going to bump into somebody. And Counter-Strike is one-hit headshots. And you know where they're going to be for the most part because the maps are very simple.
Yeah. I think there is something to say for people who have map knowledge and not necessarily aim, but...
So not compared to Rainbow Six is my point.
Okay, yeah, I got you.
Yeah, Counter-Strike in a nutshell, you could say, even if you're not killing people, if you're pushing up on mid and you're telling me where you hear footsteps and you're flashing and you're buying for people and not dying every round and keeping the economy alive, sure. But not compared to Rainbow Six. So
no, I was saying positionally you could be smart enough to get kills and not have to aim duel everyone. But yeah, go on.
Not compared to Rainbow Six.
Yeah.
Not compared to Rainbow Six. So in Rainbow Six, there are no lanes. You're in a house, right? And where you see these wooden panels, anything that's wood you can break with a shotgun or an explosive or something.
Just punch it with your gun barrel.
Exactly. If you're not good at killing people head on, you don't take fights head on. Simple as that. If you're defending this section, you don't need to stand here and aim at this door. You can instead blow open all of this and make it so somebody who looks into this area now has this entire room that they need to figure out where you're at. And you might be behind this barrel, you might be behind this barrel, you might be behind this barrel. They have tools to try and figure out where you are, right? But you can change the map based on how you want to play this. Maybe
just
you
use
are good
and have their phone go off.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe you are really good at shooting people head on. Maybe you are going to win the gunfight. You barricade off the door. And now they can't see anything. And the second they break the barricade or blow open something in the door, you know exactly where to look. And again, they have to look into the whole room. Maybe you have flashes, maybe you have smokes, but you can play this game as aggressively or as passively as you want to. If you want to be in a completely different room and wait for them to execute on this room before jumping in behind them, you can do exactly that. And if they figure out that you're hiding around, guess what? They can't execute on this room. Now they have to go figure out where you are. They got to chase you all through the house and kill you before they can push into the site because they don't want you behind them. Sort of thing. They have cameras, they have lasers, they have all this stuff, but...
Isn't the time to kill in this game super short?
Yeah, so in this game, 3 bullets kills you, no matter what gun. And every gun is a one-hit headshot, including pistols.
Yeah, that's faster than CS.
Yeah, it's incredibly fast. But this game has drones that lets you drive around the house and see where everybody is. You get a limited number of them, and the defenders can kill them, so you have to be a little bit careful. But you have a lot more intel than you would in Counter-Strike. In Counter-Strike, you might have... you jump out of B tunnels and you go onto B site. You might have 10 spots to look at, but those are the only 10 spots anybody's going to be at.
Did you ever do entry fragger maps, like for practice and stuff?
No.
I would go on maps where it would like spawn enemies in certain common spots to sit, and I would just run out of B tons, knowing where to pre-fire, and just go through the motion super fast.
Yeah, that's what
I would do that for like 2 hours.
This is B tunnels, by the way, for those of us that are watching. So the attacking team typically sits here. This is a safe zone for them. The counter-terrorist team can't make it to this location at the same time. So they have this whole B site to play on. You can run through these tunnels, but as you're running through these tunnels, the whole defending side only has to look at tunnels. Meanwhile, you have to pay attention if somebody's close left, close right, deep car, doors, any one of the sight boxes, any one of the plat boxes, or the window box, right? So you have to pay attention to all of that. But the benefit, obviously, is that they have 2 sites to defend. So you're typically not going to have 5 people here, whereas if you wanted to, you could have 5 attackers rush into the site. But that's my point. The way that you win this is you have to hit your shots. Wherever you see the person, it becomes a one-on-one gunfight.
It's all jiggle peeking and hoping you hit it.
Yeah, you can't break this open and then take an alternate route into the site. They can't cover this up and force you to have to break something else open in order to get into the site. Whereas on Rainbow Six, every room's got 3-4 windows. Every room's got a ceiling you can break through. Every room's got a floor you can break through. If they cover up this wall and you can't get into it, guess what? I'm going above you. I'm breaking open this wood paneling. I'm going to find you. I'm going to kill you, and then I'm going to come in. In the highest level of play, that's the correct thing to do.
Have you seen that meme that's been going around? That's like the person saying like, "Oh, you've been playing this game for 6 years. You must be good at it by now." And then it's like the cat that starts the crying cat.
Yeah.
And I felt that so much just because like.
Not just that, they have this doesn't apply to you and me because we have quite nice computers, but they'll have PC master race stuff where it's like PCs are so much better than consoles because they can run stuff at 4K 200 FPS. And it's like, can your computer run 4K 200 FPS? Just them crying.
That's so mean. I was there. I used to be there. I remember my first computer I built. I undersold the power supply. And it freaking shorted the whole thing and ruined it. And I remember just going down to my mom, and I was like, "Mom, I broke it."
Yeah.
And she was like, "What?" And I was like, "My computer. I can't salvage any of it."
Oh no. When I first built my computer, I was plugging my monitor into the motherboard HDMI slot instead of the video card. So it wasn't working, obviously, because when you plug in a video card, you have to plug your monitors into the video card. The motherboard HDMIs and stuff get deactivated.
Everyone would be surprised how often that happens, by the way. Like a lot.
That's not the last time I've done that. But I didn't understand why.
For customers, too.
Yeah. I didn't understand why that was happening, so I assumed that the power supply must not be strong enough or something. So I returned the power supply, RMA'd it, got a larger power supply, still had the same issue.
Obviously.
And I probably had this built computer sitting in my room for like a week and a half before getting it on and working. Nothing was wrong with it. I was just plugging the connection into the wrong thing. Oh, I felt like a dum-dum.
Yeah. I mean, I remember one time I was like, I told my friend how many frames I was getting. He's like, "There's no way." And he asked me like, where's your like HDMI plugged into or whatever display port? And I was like, "The graphics card." He's like, "Good." I had a friend, didn't do that. And I was like, "Is that real?" And then I found out that's super real. And it's super common.
Yeah. I mean, that's not even the last time that I've made that mistake even. There's been a different time. It wasn't as serious as to where I had the computer not working for 2 weeks. But there's definitely a time where I built a computer and I couldn't figure out why it wasn't working. And then like 20 minutes later, I was like, I plugged it into the fucking motherboard again. And then I plugged it into the video card and then it worked out just fine. I was like, damn, didn't I make this mistake like 5 years ago? What's wrong with me?
I remember my first memory of you, by the way, at Micro Center was I was told to go help you with something. And you're talking to a customer and like you're like not arguing with him, but you're clearly trying to explain something to him that he's not getting. And right. I just go a little closer and I listen to it. And you're the guy, you're like, "Sir, just because you get a VGA splitter does not mean you will get dual monitors that will have two different displays on each monitor. You'll have the same display twice." And then he just wasn't getting it.
Yeah. I'm very happy I don't have that job anymore.
And I remember listening in and being like, "This is how I have to start telling people this," because that is the most common question in the world when you work at a tech store.
People don't understand that their issues aren't unique, I think is the thing. I have tried to apply that logic to other parts of my life and just been like, listen, I'm not the only person in the world that has trouble going to sleep or doesn't have good time management or doesn't know how to do this thing when editing a video. You know, clearly there has to be somebody else who's done this. Let me try and learn from the situation. But people, so often people would come into the store and they'd be like, "Listen, are you a computer guy? Do you really know your stuff?" And I'd be like, "Buddy, I sell them. Like, I don't give a shit about your problem."
I love the quiz you get beforehand.
Yeah. They're like, do you really know your stuff? Okay, so here's
Let me just get my resume.
Yeah. Here's what happened. And they explain all the pre-log to why they're setting up a second TV in the living room. So my kid's got this Xbox and I'm trying to watch football at the same time. And my buddy's got this TiVo set up where he can watch it on two TVs. So anyway, what's the difference between HDMI and HDMI?
We figured out the solution way before the end of the story, but there's no stopping them because in their car, they were thinking about what they were going to say and they're going to say it. Everyone has that little, like, it's like their shampoo bottle speech where they're in the shower. They're saying, "I'm going to say this, this, this."
Yeah.
And then he's going to give me a solution. And there's no way I'm going to deviate from this plan.
People, man. I think Kim Jong Un is dead.
I'm pretty sure of it because he was fat.
Kim Jong Un. Morning speculation. South Korea says Kim Jong Un is alive and well 5 hours ago.
The thing I don't get is I don't know if this is a meme or a real thing.
Kim Jong Un might have been injured during April 14th missile test. That's a new one.
Oh. Well, why did he aim it at himself?
Right? So people have been memeing the fact that he's got a sister.
Oh, is this a Game of Thrones
thing?
thing?
Shut the fuck up. What?
Is this a Game of Thrones play?
Could it be? She does look like a bit of a Cersei, doesn't she?
She looks like she knows something is about to happen.
Yeah. So people have been waifuing over this chick.
Oh, no.
Kim Yo Jang. And
there's a pun in there somewhere. I'll find it.
Well, the jokes are going wild. The jokes are just going, listen, if this was the supreme leader of North Korea, I wouldn't mind getting nuked, if you know what I mean. Which, to be fair, her face is just sort of plain looking, but I think it's just anything compared to Kim Jong Un is just sort of better. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
What is the wildest fact that you have heard about North Korea?
I think Kim Jong Un's dad or his dad's dad or something like that, like played a perfect round of golf where like he had a hole in one on every hole or something like that.
Yeah, like, that totally happened.
The day he died, ESPN reported that the world's greatest golfer has died.
Really? Wait, well, in North Korean TV?
No, ESPN here put.
Oh, they actually did it, but it was ironic.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
I think he said like he hit like on 18-hole course, he hit like 12 eagles, which is a hole in one.
Right.
But like not every hole, because they had to keep him a little modest.
Yeah. They had this. Hold on. I've got a Vladimir Putin out of water. Is this going to be the right thing?
It's
no,
not
Vladimir Putin holding Vase. Here it is.
The one where he goes, he deep dives and like finds these vases.
He doesn't do anything of the sort.
But that's the story, though, right?
That's the story. So this, for those of you at home, everybody's at home. We're social distancing. Those of you who aren't watching the video, first of all, watch the video. Like, what? This isn't a podcast. We call it a podcast, but you should be watching the video. Thank you for listening on Spotify, by the way. Vladimir Putin jumps out of the water in a wetsuit that is completely dry, right? Holding two ancient broken vases that are worth thousands of dollars, and he donates them to a local museum, and they're like a huge thing that he's found in the water. And I remember watching a documentary following Russian civilians and just seeing what life is like in Russia. And one of the women that they interviewed, when looking at this report on her computer, reacts with just shock and awe that her leader is so talented. She's like, she's like, how incredible is it that his first time diving in the water, he comes out with such valuable relics?
It's the cult of personality.
Yeah, they're like, clearly he is supreme to the average being because of this. Oh my God, it was so ridiculous.
I think I've seen the same thing. But yeah. I feel like North Korea has the monopoly on crazy backstory, though.
I love it. I've seen every Vice documentary, every travel documentary. The thing that blows my mind is just how, in some situations, it's cool. The lengths that they go to make it seem like they just have a normal society. You know what I mean? Because like they'll do stuff when they have people travel, like have a mall. And that's like the impressive thing that they've got. And they'll be like, look at this mall that we have. See how the lights are on? And there's things inside? People shop here. Everybody's like, very good, Korea. Why are they turning off the lights behind us as we're walking through on the floors? They had this one journalist who was trying to buy something. And he was like, how much is one of these shirts? And the lady there was like, no. And he was like, well, what about one of these dresses or one of these Armani belts? You guys, how much is one of these belts? And she's like, no.
No.
And they're like just there for show. You can't buy them. Later in the day, or maybe it was a different documentary I was watching, they had this infomercial advertising the ability for you to be able to spend money on these beautiful shops that they have available. And it's that same one mall that they spent the time to furnish and make look famous and whatever.
You got to put your best foot forward.
Your only foot forward? There's one foot, Alex, is the thing.
Oh, I didn't know.
They
probably lost it in the Korean War.
The hotel that they were staying at, they stayed on like the second to the top floor, and every other room, every other light was off. And when this is legitimate, when they were walking through the long hallways, they had a dude like 10 feet behind them that was turning off the lights as they were passing each 12-foot section to like save electricity. And it's like you're doing your best to try and put on this image, right? Is electricity that scarce you couldn't wait for them to leave the building and just save a tiny bit of face?
Yeah, I mean, obviously. Did you see that meme where it was like proof that he died, and it was like the Steam user map? And there was like, there's 2 dots in North Korea, but yesterday there was only 1.
Wait, who was the other one?
I think like there's like stories that like if you're like a high-ranking official in North Korea, like they live fairly normal lives from what you'd see in the West, where it's like they have Steam accounts, they go out to eat a lot, like
right,
like up top, they live pretty modern lives apparently.
Yeah,
but it's just funny to see.
I've
North
read
Korea on a map.
I've read that but obviously they don't have any freedoms in North Korea to the tune of what we would expect. But
yeah,
I've seen several different documentaries where they've tried to make an effort to look as if they have freedoms. I remember one of the things was they had a question.
Are you saying the Democratic Republic of North Korea doesn't have freedoms?
I'm saying it might not be as free as the Kim sons make it out to be. One of the things I remember was them going into a barber shop or something and asking if it was true that North Koreans are only allowed to have a set of 10 different haircuts and that's it. And no colored hair is allowed.
We basically do that here. We color our hair, but let's be real. There's like 10 different ones you get.
And they were like, no, of course that's not true. Like, yeah, we have this chart that says the glorious leader only allows these 10 haircuts, but if you want something a little different, we could totally do it a little different. And yet their entire time there, they never met anybody who had a different haircut, sort of thing. And then they also had they had a lot of things. Like the children were all taught to only sing the songs of like the way that they teach people that like they play like American TV, like American cartoons, and they say that North Korea made it. And it's like, what? Damn. Like they play like Monsters Inc. And they say that
YouTube copyright system is going to be on them in a few years.
So as if they have YouTube, right? They probably don't. You think they're watching Summoning Salt in North Korea?
I hope they'd love it.
I don't think they'd understand. They'd be like finishing a game quickly, but we only get one.
They're already speedrunning Starvation.
Yeah, that's true. I've read that methamphetamines are a very common thing distributed to the mass of North Korea because it subsets your appetite, suppresses your appetite. Yeah, so it's not uncommon for like farmers and people who are quite poor to just take meth and not eat for days on end.
I think like the Germans in World War II were on ecstasy, if I remember correctly.
Are you thinking of Panzer Girls? Because that's a different thing.
No, it's a real thing. That's how they were able to fight so much and do blitzkrieg. Like, we're constant battling. They just kept giving them drugs.
Because they were just coming constantly? I've never done ecstasy.
Attacking, like, just like, wave after wave after wave attack. It was, like, crazy, and they didn't know how they did it. It was because they kept giving them drugs to keep them going all day.
But ecstasy specifically?
It was some, like, 1940s upper. Look it up. I don't know, man.
Nah, it's fine.
There's no way to search that.
I don't know what the German World War I ecstasy, like, no.
Two.
I'm not good with my histories. So if North Korea had an anime, right? North Korea gets one. They get one anime, and it has to speak to all North Korean people, right? In a way that, like a popular anime here would sort of encompass a lot of familiar experiences that people have had. You know what I mean? Like a slice of life anime. But the manga. Let's power through that, huh? So
okay.
it's about an average everyday high school, or they probably don't have high school. A school boy whose goal in life is to appease
become
the supreme leader.
Oh.
Become the supreme leader. Wait, that's way better than what I mumbled.
You didn't say anything, right? That was just what I said.
Yeah, sure. Why not? So is he in line to become the supreme leader? Is he a relative of Kim?
He has a plan.
His name is Kim. That we've established, okay?
Kim cubed.
Kim cubed.
I think
Kim Impossible.
Oh no.
Go on.
That's not allowed. I think his play is he bears an uncanny resemblance to Kim Jong Un's son.
Yes. But he isn't actually Kim Jong Un's son.
And Kim Jong Un's son doesn't want to be the supreme leader.
And so he's friends with him?
And it's like the Parent Trap. But they're not related. There's no relation. We're all just racist. And
yeah.
They trade spots. And the story revolves around each one of them being out of their element.
Yeah. So Kim Jong Un, the son, is doing the average everyday life of talking to girls and singing songs in school.
It's still North Korea.
Right. So starving and starving
and looking for food.
But then Kim has snuck himself into Kim Jong Un's estate, and he's taking classes on how to rule the world and learning about politics and
what I think is that they're friends at first when they meet and they're really excited by it, but once they switch, the real son realizes how much he wants to go back and how good he had it.
Right.
Because he believed the propaganda and didn't think it was going to be that bad. But the other one is desperate not to go back. So it becomes a power struggle to try to prove that he's the real son.
Oh.
I just came up with this on the top of my head, Dan. That's as good as it's going to get.
You act like there's no reason for me to continue to ask you what an anime plot for this stupid, absurd situation I've thought of ends up being. It's because you're good at it, Alex.
Yeah.
When I first told you to hop on this podcast, you were like, I don't know, man. I don't know if I'm podcast material. And I was like, Alex, shut up. You're totally podcast material. And now look at you. 5 episodes in. This is like the 4th anime plot we've come up with, and they've all been stellar. I'm officially putting you on the writing team for the succubus anime I'm going to do.
I think this one's better than the succubus one. I'm going to be a little...
I like how open the succubus anime is, though. You could come up with crazy, ridiculous scenes. And in my head, it would take place in a dark, downtown, neon-lit New York or Tokyo or something. This one has to take place in North Korea, and we can't even come up with good stories. We'd have to be actually good writers, because the whole manga would be personal relationships and real-life struggles. Well, the thing that I like about this
is the crazy stuff you can add to this would just be real things that are happening in North Korea because they're already crazy. And you just have to bring light on them. You know what I mean? Well,
that's what
it
I'm
has
saying.
that added layer where it's crazy, but it's actually real.
But I think that requires good writing. We'd have to actually be good at writing a story in order to make that work, because there's real life things.
Hey,
and source
D&D wrote season 8. We can do anything.
I guess that's true. I guess that's probably true. Cool. You thinking of anything else here? We got anything else to touch on?
Well, I could if you wanted me to do that, the money trap or the money pit.
Oh yeah, you wanted to say something about the money pit. What's going on?
Yeah, so we do a family movie night since the quarantine started at my house. So we all take turns.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
My family. Okay, I'm sorry you weren't invited. Maybe after the quarantine, but we each take turns in my family picking a movie, and my dad picked the money pit, and I'd never seen this movie, and it falls under my dad's perfect type of comedy, where it's a cringe comedy.
Right.
Where I don't know what you think of when you hear cringe comedy, but it's not like TikTok cringe.
Wait, let me see if I can think of an example. Like a cringe comedy like Meet the Fockers?
Literally exactly that. I was gonna say Meet the Parents, which was the original, but yeah, exactly that.
I only know the parody movies to classic movies. Sorry, I'm one of those.
No, it's not a parody. That's the sequel.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Meet
wait.
the Parents is the original.
What's the parody? There's a
no
parody
parody.
that parodies it. Date night or date movie. That's what it is.
Okay, yeah. No, but like my dad loves that. My dad could watch that stuff all day, and I hate it. I mean, I don't hate it, but you know, I just it's too much for me to watch them back to back. But this is definitely one of them where if you haven't seen the movie, and I'm gonna spoil it because it's from like the 80s, and if you haven't seen it, that's your fault.
Right.
Not the Fockers, but Money Pit.
Sorry.
But basically, this house they buy it's like an expensive ass house that they bought from this old lady, and it just falls apart. And you just watch them sink more and more money into this house, and then slowly start to fight. Obviously, you know the two main actors. If you know, everyone knows Tom Hanks,
I've heard
survivor of coronavirus.
Right.
And then the other one, I don't even know her real name, but she's Diane from Cheers. If you've seen Cheers, which I'm sure most people have.
My dad used to watch it on TV, so I've seen episodes of it, but that's not something I'm going to know actively.
You know to hate her because she's the worst.
Sure.
Because Diane was the worst. But this movie, it was pretty normal for the genre of cringe comedies.
Right.
But then at the end, it got weird.
Go on.
Because I don't think they're not married the whole movie until the end, I think. But she wakes up in bed with her ex-husband.
Randomly?
And no, through the events of the movie, he's away on business for 2 days or whatever, and she's in bed with her ex-husband all of a sudden because she doesn't want to go back to the house because it's so awful.
Right.
And so she thinks she slept with him because she's so drunk she doesn't remember, and the guy told her that's what happened.
Right.
So she's saying she's gonna lie to Tom Hanks, his character, and so then he suspects it all along, and he's just tell me, I won't get mad, I just want to know the truth. But she still just lies.
Right.
And then she wakes up a few hours later and tells him the truth, and then he's so half asleep so he doesn't notice it, and then he wakes up and gets all mad. And then the movie takes this weird turn where it makes Tom Hanks' character look like the bad guy for being mad that she cheated on him.
Right.
And it was the weirdest turn for this movie to all of a sudden be pro cheating.
I feel like a lot of movies do that in one way where it's they try and normalize cheating. Maybe it's wrong because I haven't had to deal with cheating on somebody or being cheated on and then have to figure out whether or not I'd want to continue the relationship. Maybe it's different when you're in the moment and it's actually more common for you to get over it it's not a big deal. But Hollywood always makes it seem if you love the girl and she cheats on you once, it's whatever. I feel that's a very common trope.
Yeah, and I was just, that was weird. It was a very, very weird, thing to add to an otherwise, I think it's a G-rated movie. But
right.
First of all, 80s movies could do anything and they'd still be PG. It's incredible.
Yeah, I think the only thing they cared about was nudity or violence. And it was outside of that, whatever. Cigarettes, incest, it's fine.
Yeah, I think Indiana Jones, the Temple of Doom, has so much stuff, gore.
Right.
And it's PG. And I remember watching it with my little cousin, and he was his mom was horrified. And I'm it's PG. You said only PG movie. It's PG. What do you want from me?
We'll leave it to you to find a loophole. All right. Well, that's just about all the time we've got for this episode of the Shpodcast. Sorry we missed last week's episode. Me and Alex were both very sick with something that is probably not the Wuhan flu. But we should probably stop drinking bat soup, if I'm being honest. I don't think we're doing ourselves any favors there.
What? No, you said we didn't have to stop.
I said not to mention that on the podcast. Anyway, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Thanks for sticking around. Remember to listen on Spotify. Hit the subscribe button. If you don't want to, hit the like button. If you don't want to, hit the dislike button. At the end of the day, buttons. Peace.
Shpy.